Welcome to another episode of Fitness to Influence. I am Sarah Dussault, and today's episode is going to be a little different. We are going to be talking about kind of life updates and news that's going on. I think this is going to be really interesting, though, for all of you guys. I've been pretty open on social media about my stance on some of these extreme, politically motivated health kind of claims and stances. And I shared in my stories how exhausted I was by not knowing the right science and feeling misled and trying to navigate all of this. So today I'm going to talk about that as well as what to do when your family is sick and life still has to carry on. You still have your goals, you still have your career, but yet you have these kids who are not feeling great. Maybe they've gotten you sick, and how to carry on. So, this is kind of a two-part podcast. Let's get into it. This past week, Elle came down with flu A. And if I'm going to rank the worst illnesses to get, I'm definitely putting norovirus as number one. I'm going to put flu B, I think, as number two. We haven't had pneumonia, so I'm not sure where that one ranks, but I'm going to put flu A and COVID kind of around the same area. Maybe not COVID. COVID actually will be before flu A. Flu A has not been great, but I have somehow not gotten it. When I brought Elle in, we got prescriptions for Tamiflu for the boys and myself and Elle. Elle refused to take it. Connor refused to take it. Tommy was okay taking it. And then, so I was like, I just spent $75 on Tamiflu. Somebody's taking it. So I guess will be me. So I took the kids' liquid Tamiflu at an adult dosage. And so far I haven't gotten it. But I can tell with my clients, a lot of people have sickness in the family. And, with the program that I teach clients, it really kind of stops you in your tracks. So number one, when you're sick, what I recommend is take a break, listen to your body, rest. Like that is the most important thing. Eat whatever you can, especially if it's something like norovirus, you're probably not eating. In fact, I lost the rest of my baby weight from Tommy due to norovirus, never gained it back. I wasn't that upset about that, but I would definitely not have norovirus and have held on to that weight and had to lose it a little bit of a more challenging way. But anyway, moving on. So definitely take the rest that you need. Do not care if you are one of my clients and you're tracking macros. That is not something you need to be worried about right now. Do what you need to do to feel better. Eggs are something that's great. Rice, that brat diet, sourdough. I just told a client smoothies are a great way to get in some nutrients. You also want to really prioritize those probiotics. After I got norovirus a few years ago, what I found is that I was more susceptible to foodborne illnesses after that and other illnesses because it really does wreak havoc on your gut. Your gut is where most of your immune system lies. I did not realize that until probably 10 years ago, whenever I got norovirus. Your gut is where most of your immune system lies. So if your good gut bacteria gets completely wiped out, it's going to be very difficult to fight off if you get, another virus, something that's going to make you sick. I think I got food poisoning again. It wasn't even food poisoning. It was just, bad takeout, bad delivery. And so really focus on replenishing the good gut bacteria. That can be from something like kombucha, yogurt, sauerkraut, fermented foods, kefir. Those are kind of my preferred probiotics. Did I say kimchi? I think I may have. If I didn't, that's another one. I am a big kombucha fan. Connor is as well, and he still hasn't gotten the flu. So let's hope that maybe he's got just a really good gut microbiome. We also aren't germaphobes. I don't know if that's gross to share, but we're not a germaphobe family. And as a result, my kids really don't get sick very often. We were at a hockey tournament in Falmouth before Elle got sick. And at one point I looked down and she was playing with gum that she found on the ground. And then she was swimming and she was like drinking the pool water at the Seacrest Hotel in Falmouth. And I was just like, this water has to be so disgusting. All these little boys and kids were playing hockey and now they're in here. And someone said they saw poop at one point. And so, Elle getting sick, not surprised. If she didn't get sick, I probably would have been shocked. And that does disgust me. I said we weren't germaphobes. Those two things were absolutely disgusting to me. And that I was like, disgusting. But with it comes to my clients, sometimes people will be like, I'm just coming back from neurovirus. What do you recommend I do? So I find that, a body in motion stays in motion. So if you need to take a break from exercise, please take it, because the last thing anyone wants to do is exercise when you feel like you're going to puke or if you have the chills. But start slow, get outside, go for walks, try some gentle stretching, yoga, maybe even Pilates. It might not feel good to get your heart rate up for a while. Take it easy. However, do something. It doesn't matter what it is, but do something. I find it's a lot easier to get back into that routine when you're consistently doing something. I remember before I was TheraFit, I would struggle to exercise. And I would find that if I could exercise for 10 days in a row, I would be more inclined to want to do it again. It's now been over a decade and I can't go more than 2 days without needing to exercise. That's just how my body is. It craves it at this point. But for a lot of my clients who are just starting out, coming back, just do something. It doesn't necessarily have to be the world's hardest workout. Maybe you do the strength workouts and you use, 5-pound dumbbells for everything. Take it easy, start small, and have grace. Don't stress about the macros. Eat what you can. If you go 3 or 4 days without eating very much because you've been sick, you're not going to have as big of an appetite right away. And then it may come back harder. So just have that in mind. Make sure that you kind of have a plan with what you're going to cook and make, because sometimes when that happens, we fall into that trap of what's convenient, what's nearest, and we don't always make the best food choices. So if you are in this, cycle of illness, remember that you do still need to take care of yourself. So maybe your kids are sick, but you are not, and you're just trying to get by. I fell into this trap last week. It was very hard for me to find time to exercise because I was taking care of sick kids, but I did try to get in, 20 minutes of movement. It will help your sanity. It will help your mental health. Do what you can. And if you can't fit it in, don't feel guilty. Don't feel like every piece of momentum that you had is kind of over. Write down kind of the meal plan for the next week. I wouldn't go over the top. I would maybe pick like 1 or 2 meals because you may not want anything to do with them after being sick. So, take things slow and just listen to your body. The number one priority is nutrition. The second priority is rest. But when you're sick, rest takes over. So just make sure that you get your body feeling, back to as good as possible. All right. Part 2 of the podcast. So it should come as no surprise to anybody how overwhelming health and nutrition feels these days if you are online. Some recent studies were showing that, there were dangerous, was it chemicals leaching into you from your smartwatch? And it's like, here we are wearing smartwatches to track our steps, to be healthier and, check our heart rate, like let us know if something's off. And then there's a study that's like, no, actually, that's giving you cancer as well. And it just can feel so overwhelming. And there's also so much conflicting information out there. Some of the ones that I keep seeing pop up about raw milk, about, food dyes. There was one about corn syrup being in formula. Everybody seems to have an opinion. And sometimes it feels like it is biased. And it is really hard to be a wellness influencer right now without constantly feeling attacked. I know that's a personal problem and not for you guys, but for you guys who probably follow a lot of wellness influencers, it can probably be really unsettling to have this lack of trust across the board, being like, who am I supposed to trust? Like, what is noise? What is, political? Because honestly, like, who knew health was political? I didn't know I didn't know wellness would be political. And now all of a sudden, I feel like I can't share things without looking like I am, sharing a political opinion when really it's just about health and fitness and wellness. My goal has always been to help women build confidence, feel good about themselves. I think my tagline early on was like enabling your passion for wellness or healthy living, enabling your passion for healthy living. That was my tagline when I first started. And somehow over the years, I shouldn't say over the years, over the past year, wellness has really taken on this. MAHA, the Make America Healthy Again, has taken a hold of a lot of wellness influencers. And even if you're not self-identified as part of that movement, you still feel like you have a stigma on your head for wellness. So here's what I'm doing in this space to stay sane and feel like I am a valued, trusted person online. I'm not a doctor. I am a certified personal trainer. I was certified through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition as a health coach. I am a faster weight coach, but I'm also a mom who I work pretty much full time. Maybe not full time, but pretty damn close these days on this podcast, on my Instagram. I share what works for me. And for me, I literally don't believe anything I see on the internet. And this is coming from someone that shares things with you. So when I see something come up in my Instagram feed, my first thing is, who's saying this? What are their credentials? Where is it coming from? Can I do a quick Google search? You can even ask ChatGPT. Is this true? I have put certain topics into ChatGPT and been like, why is this controversial? And ChatGPT will be like, these are the pros and these are the cons. And then I will take that and then I will still do research on that. I have found that there are doctors on Instagram who are really doing a great job at figuring out what we should be focusing on. So let's talk about food dyes real quick. So would I love for, harmful food dyes to be eliminated from all of our foods? Yes, I would. Is it possible for me as a mom to avoid it most of the time? Yes. Do my children consume food dyes on occasion because they are at the hockey rink and they want Skittles and that was their bribery to get them on the ice? Yes. I do the best that I can. I shop at stores like Whole Foods that don't have these ingredients, and I try to keep my house free from them for the most part. However, they are inevitable, whether they are at a soccer field and another mom gives them something, or again, we're at the hockey rink, it is inevitable. I am confident that in these very small doses, my kids are going to be okay. Now, would I love for them to have none? Yes. Am I a hypocrite drinking alcohol if I don't allow my kids to have these things? Kind of, right? Like there is now research, there's studies that are saying that alcohol increases your chances of getting, some of these certain cancers. And so did I decide to stop drinking when that study came out? No, I didn't. But I do drink a lot less. This research was nothing new when I saw it. Little bits, little trickles have been coming out about the dangers of alcohol. And, I have known this. I've also noticed how I feel when I drink alcohol, and it's not great. I still enjoy drinking. I like drinking socially. I'm okay to hang out socially and not drink as well. But that's a decision that I have made that for right now that works for me. I am aware of the dangers. A lot of the research is not necessarily on very moderate drinking. Like a lot of the research isn't someone that has like 2 drinks a week. It's kind of like 1 drink a day, 2 drinks a day. So I am comfortable with my decision. It's all about balance. Yes, it raises my risk, but it's minimal. And you know what? YOLO. You only have one life. And I want to be here as long as I can. I try to do my best. But if I want to drink 1 day a week, have 2 drinks 1 day a week, I'm okay with that. My kids, I try to get them to eat good food, but do my kids eat perfect? Do my kids want to eat healthy food? No. Elle would eat mac and cheese every single day for every meal if she could, with a side of M&Ms. So I, as her mom, I'm doing the best that I can, trying to make good decisions. Would it be helpful to have the government make some of these decisions so I didn't even have to say no to things that I think are processed and garbage? Yes, but there are so many bigger hills to die on than food dye. Processed junk like foods and making sure that kids actually eat fruits and vegetables should be the priority. Like, I'm not overly worried about food dye. I'm worried if my kids are eating fruits and vegetables. And so if you are not getting your kids to eat fruits and vegetables, and you're not concerned about other kids in other areas that might live in food deserts who aren't eating fruits and vegetables, but you're really fighting to get food dye banned, it's like, well, maybe we should put our resources more into getting people to eat more real food and exercising. There is a lot of research on obesity and childhood obesity, and it's not about food dyes. It's about lack of exercise. It's a lack of real, whole, nutritious food. And so for me, I try to focus my efforts and energy on making sure that people understand the importance of eating real unprocessed foods. I like to try to encourage people to get out and be active and make the best decisions that they can for their family. Some people say everything in moderation is flawed. You can't smoke in moderation, right? It's not really cigarettes, of course. It doesn't necessarily apply there, right? But for the most part, you need to be the best advocate for your family. You need to do the research. You need to follow a variety of resources online. I honestly do. If I see one person post something, I don't take that at face value. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Is anyone else posting about this? There's a celebrity menopause doctor on Instagram who I follow, and I was kind of like, thought she was well respected. And then another doctor I follow was posting things that, apparently they were spreading misinformation. I'm like, this is really fascinating to me because I trusted both of these people. And now one is accusing the other of spreading misinformation. And so I took that as my sign that even if someone that you think is a trusted professional, do your own research. I posted something, what was it? I posted something on my store, one of my Instagram reels, and someone shared that, I forget what it was. I got to go back and look at it, but someone shared something as like truth, and it was just a random commenter. And I responded and I was like, I actually looked into this and I don't think the research is there for this. You can do your own research, but I looked into it myself and I came to the conclusion that this research was flawed. It was, seed oils. It was based on the negative studies on seed oils. And again, I just kind of wanted to talk about what I do here in this podcast. I'm not getting into the nitty gritty science of this, but a lot of wellness influencers are against seed oils. Now, if you look at the research, some of the research, the earliest on that, first may have looked at seed oils negatively. It was a very highly processed form of seed oils that is not even legal anymore. It's not even made. So that negative study really doesn't apply anymore because that product is no longer even available or used. And then when you look at the current research, a lot of it, it's not the seed oils it's pointing to, it's the fried, it's the processed foods. It's not necessarily the seed oil, it's the lack of nutrition and the unhealthy nature of the food itself that is causing these negative studies that are showing that seed oil is inflammatory and obesogenic. So what I do is, do I eat seed oils? Let's talk about this one. I do. I don't cook with it at my house. I don't necessarily buy it, but I love a good bagged salad. And most of the bagged salads have seed oil dressings. And so I don't eat bagged salads every day, but I probably have one or two a week. And so in that context, I do. If I go to a restaurant, food is fried. Yes, it's probably in that as well. But when I'm at my house, I am using olive oil almost all the time, avocado oil as well. Those are kind of the two that I always have at my house that I'm always using. And so I do the best that I can. This was kind of a ramble, but I guess I just really want to encourage you to follow various doctors. I'll put some links below this podcast to some of my favorite doctors on Instagram, not just wellness influencers. I obviously am a wellness, I hate the word influencer, but I'm obviously a wellness content creator and I share what works for me and my family. And I encourage you to find what works for you and your family, but you can't rely on just what one person says. You need to do your own research. Like, I specifically didn't want to do too much research in this podcast because I want you to do your own. I want you to be like, how do I feel about this topic? Go and do your own research. It feels so overwhelming, everything, but focus on eating unprocessed foods. Focus on getting in exercise. Focus on drinking water. Focus on getting your good sleep and, practicing things that reduce stress, like yoga, meditation. These are the big things. Do what you can. Do what you can control. When you go down that rabbit hole of PFAS and, it's overwhelming. And you're like, oh my God, we are all going to die. Do the best you can. If you can buy certain organic things, great. Switch to clean beauty products. Try to limit your toxic load. There are so many things, but if we all just focused on eating less processed foods, moving our body more, getting our sleep, managing our stress, we would all be a lot better off. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by everything, take a deep breath, focus on these basics, and just breathe. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Next week, I promise to have another amazing episode with some upcoming exciting guests. I've got to go pick up Elle from daycare because my nanny is still out because we got her daughter sick. Not daycare, preschool. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye now.